Hey y'all, here is a new lesson for Course 2 Digital Scrapbooking Techniques at Hummy's World, and I'm kind of excited about this one. It's as simple as making diagonal stripes on your page, and if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. I love diagonals on my layouts, and every time I see one, I think to myself, why don't I do that more? And so I'm making a challenge for you to cut diagonals onto your digital scrapbooking layouts out of digital scrapbooking paper. I made this layout with my new kit called Back Then. You can see I use this red paper, this arrow, I use this polka dot paper, and I use this striped paper here. Yeah, there is some red in here. Pulled it out because it went with my photo, but I have a store, Hummy's World, on Etsy, if you'd like to come get this. I'm having fun scrapping with it. Now back to making diagonals after that brief interlude of marketing. Here is my layout, my final layout, but what I'm going to do is turn off or make invisible these layers that I used to, whoops, what am I doing? To make, I keep turning back on. I do not like Photoshop Elements 11 as well as I do the other versions. I absolutely love how you can install actions and layer styles in it, but the interface is very difficult for me. Oh, there we go. Got them all off. I'm having trouble seeing the little eyes and the slashes through them. So here we are down to the basics, and I have the 3 layers here with the papers that I used. I put them in here already for us to utilize. I'm going to make this one visible. You see there's the striped paper, but I'm going to start with it being turned off in order to make a template for my diagonal cut of paper. So I'm going to start, I want my template, my layer template to be below the striped paper. So I'm going to click on and make the layer below it active, and then I'm going to hit create new layer icon. Now I have a new layer right below the striped layer. And I'm just using black and white as my foreground color and background color. To get that, you can press Control D, not Control D, just hit the D key on your keyboard and it will go to that. Not necessarily important, but if you are following along and want your screen to look just like mine, I wanted to throw in that tip. Okay, next we need to get the Polygonal, and I don't ever know if I say that right, Lasso Tool. And mine is already active. If you're in Photoshop Elements 11, you would click this Tool Options bar, and you might be in one of the other lasso tools. So make sure you're on the Polygonal Lasso Tool. And I'm going to click Tool Options again to make that go down. And if you are in one of the earlier versions, you're going to find you just right-click and choose the Polygonal. Okay, so I've got my Polygonal, and I'm going to imagine where I want my diagonal line. And this is probably going to turn out, because it was so random the first time, going to probably turn out a little different than the first one. But I believe I was wanting to put it along this corner, and so I clicked down beyond my outer border, and then I just went all the way up somewhere beyond the outer border up here, and I can kind of move it back and forth and imagine where it might be. I'm going to click down. Then I'm going to choose how wide it is. Now you can try to make it the same width on each end, but for variety and a little bit of fun, you might consider making each end a different width. And so for me, let's make this one smaller. Then I'm going to come all the way down here and I'm going to make this one wider down here. I'm going to click once out, and you notice I'm way out in the gray area outside of the layout. The reason that I'm doing this is to make sure and to ensure that I am getting the selection all the way up to the edge. This way I don't have to zoom in and try to get exactly on the edge here. And once, actually I could have just double clicked this and it would close it up for me. So now you see there is no selection out into the gray area. It actually goes right up to the edge. Now I'm going to hit Control and Backspace, and it fills it in with the background color. If you want to fill it in with the foreground color, it'd be Alt Backspace. And I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. So now I have my template for my diagonal. And next I'm going to, you can do this several ways. You can click on your paper layer and hit Control G. I'm going to hit undo. Or you can hold your Alt key until you get the little double or triple circle, intersecting circle icon, and click down, and that groups that together. I'm going to make this visible. So now you can see I have here my diagonal paper cut, but I don't like the way my text, I can't read it because it goes straight through there. And so I actually chose to mask out my text. So I grabbed this rectangular marquee tool and went and highlighted or selected an area the size of my text, and then simply hit the mask icon, and it created a mask with the selection shape that I had. But as you can see, it left it where my text is, and it took it off on these ends. And so all I have to do is make sure I've got this mask selected. You see it's got a little blue line around it, or just click right in it and then hit Control I for invert, and you see the mask has been inverted. If you need more lessons on masks, I have them at hummiesworld.com. This is a little bit more advanced of a tutorial. And so now you can see it goes diagonal everywhere. There is white on the mask, white reveals, black conceals, and so where it's black on here, it's not showing that diagonal, and where it's white, it is. So we're going to make our next one. And I'm going to click here. This is the same exact process. We're going to do it 3 times, so you'll see how quick and easy it actually is when I don't take time explaining it. So I'm going to create a new layer, get my Polygonal Lasso Tool, imagine where I want this. I don't really want it up on this edge. In my mind, it might be good, but for me, I wanted to keep it all coming from this edge. So I'm out in the gray area, and let's see, I want to make this one kind of wide and large. Just kind of imagine it in your head, and remember, if you don't like it, you can always delete it and redo it. When I get down here, I'm going to just double click, and it closes that selection. Control Backspace fills it in with my background color, which happens to be white. Control D to deselect. I'm going to hold down my Alt key and get that icon and click here. Oh, let's turn that paper layer on, and just like that, I have another diagonal cut of paper. But it goes over the text, and I'm going to show you how to copy this mask to this after we make our third one. So I'm going to hit New Layer, grab my Polygonal, it's still active, and this time I'm going to put wide down at the bottom and narrow at the top. And I want this to be kind of close to that. Just because I want to have fun. Double click when we get down here. It has made my selection. Control backspace fills it in. Control D deselects. See, we can turn this paper layer on. Hold down the Alt key, click between them, and there we go. We have our third diagonal shape. Now I have this problem with the text, and I could go ahead and get this and try to make that selection, but because this line is here, I want it to match, and I don't want to have to be finicky and zoom in. So I'm going to copy this mask. So let's click on this mask here, and then control click on it, and you see out here it's made marching ants of the mask. Now I'm going to go to this layer and simply hit Add Layer Mask, and you see just like that it made the mask, and I can read my text. So I'm going to do the same one for this one here. Control, hold down my control key, click on the layer mask to get my marching ants or my selection of this mask. I'm going to click on this layer here, which is the template for this, and hit the mask icon, and just like that it pastes it right in there, so I don't have to go make the same one again, and you can see it's lined up perfectly. And then I think after that see, this is so scrunched up. There we go. On the mask template layer, I'm going to add a low drop shadow to each one of those. Whoops, I hit the wrong thing. And just like that, you can see made another cool layout with the diagonal lines a little bit different than before. So creating diagonal lines is pretty easy. You just have to make a template of and then group the paper to it, and if you don't want the diagonal in a certain area, you can use masks. Maybe you want them to go all the way across. Now I made mine go this way. You can make diagonals go this way. You can even crisscross them. You can do whatever you want. It's all a part of your imagination and maybe what works best with where you've put your photo and your journaling. And yes, please journal. I'm the journal police. You see all that journaling on my layout? Get your journaling on there and tell us all about the story. I just had to say that. I'm sorry. Okay. I look forward to seeing your layouts with diagonals because I might come along and lift one of them because I love diagonals. I don't know why, I just do.